Hey there, YouTube. I'm Jack. This is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Hope you guys all had a lovely week out there. As usual, no news here. It's been hotter than 40 hells here in the South Alabama this week, but that's all right. Glad you guys have been enjoying the videos I'm doing with Amanda. Hopefully I'll be able to get her in front of the camera and we'll do another one sometime this weekend. But today I want to talk about the raw food diet versus cooked vegan food. You do you. Guys, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, I'd appreciate if you'd go down and hit that big red subscribe button right now. Then be sure you click on the little bell and check send notifications so you'll stay subscribed to the channel. Yeah, just talking raw vegan versus cooked vegan. Which one? Which one? Yes, both of them. I don't know. That's why the last little part in there, you do you. I think there's a number of factors that go into that. One thing I want to mention to start the video, though, just to put it in perspective, there's a very, very small percentage of the world that is vegan. Just vegan. Any kind of vegan. Junk food vegan, processed food vegan, whatever. Very, very small percentage that's vegan at all. There's a tiny, minuscule percentage of those vegans that are actually raw. So you do the math there. There's not that many people doing a raw food diet, but I'm not saying that to discourage it. I'm just saying for the practicality purposes why I like to include information about a cooked food diet and why I'm not fanatic about, oh my God, every bite of food that I eat has to be raw. For me, it comes down to health all the time. Health and nutrition, health and nutrition, health and nutrition. Say it after me so it'll get into your head. I think about this stuff a lot. For some of you that may not know my backstory, when I first started this lifestyle 8 years ago, I was living in Costa Rica. So the availability there was sick. I mean, through the roof. You know, I can think of like just at least 10 fruits, and we're not even getting into the more exotic ones. I can think of at least 10 fruits that I could just get like that every day. I could have with me all the time, you know. Mangoes, pineapple, papaya. I had sugarcane juice all the time. I got regular meme sapote. I got regular passion fruit. What else? Mangosteen was fairly common. It wasn't every day, but mangosteen was fairly common. I just had access to so many different things down there, and it did kind of spoil me. And when I lived in Costa Rica, also, as well, it's very hot down there most of the time and most of the areas of Costa Rica. So everything was just conducive to that. And when I lived in Costa Rica, especially when I moved down to the beach from the city, I was almost 100% raw food the whole time I was there. I would come back to the States to visit my mom a few times a year, and I'd eat some cooked vegan food then. Down there, it was mostly all raw. Like I say, because I had all that availability to me. And I didn't have to think a lot to be able to keep my calories up and get plenty of calories there. Now, there's just other places, and I said it from the beginning of starting the lifestyle, that if I were in certain parts of the world, I would not focus so much on the raw part of it. Even though I was never a fanatic about it, raw is law, you must eat raw, cooked is poison, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. I still ate mostly raw, but I said, you know, if I lived in certain areas that were harsh, not that conducive to eating raw, you didn't have a lot of availability, you had a lot of cool or cold weather year round, no, I would do what I do in the tropics in a general sense. I would make the best choices that I could make in the environment that I was in. Besides environment, it's also about reality. Let's go back to those numbers again. There's a very small percentage that are vegan. A very, very smaller percentage of those that are raw vegan. So, practically speaking, how many raw people do we see that go the long haul? And I'm not talking about the bigger names like people that do YouTube channels. You can pull examples out there, so don't just start saying, well, so-and-so's been doing it 25 years. I'm talking big picture. I'm talking about the people that you're in Facebook groups with. I'm talking about the people that you interact with, whether in forums, on here, or whatever. How many people go raw and 5 years later, they're still raw? And also a lot of the YouTubers tapped out. I can't even count how many YouTubers that are fully raw that were preaching it to you have tapped out in the 8 years since I've been doing that. So it's about reality. I'm utilitarian. Like I just said a minute ago, it all goes back to health and nutrition. About 2 years ago, now I've been back here in the States 3 years now, about 2 years ago, after having a summer of getting real high on the fruit again and going real low fat, like high raw, and not eating a lot of cook. I just, like 2 summers ago, once again, I got crazy skinny. So I just found it here in Alabama, even though it's not a cool area, it's not like cold a lot of the year. I just found it hard to keep the calories on. So that's why I started making the best choices that I can. And that's what it boils down to is, and I like to stress this, whatever you do, keep it clean. Keep it clean and think whole food, plant-based over just being raw. And think about whole foods, real foods over processed vegan food, packaged vegan food. And just keep those same things in mind whether you're doing cooked and raw. I really think a lot of times this fully raw mentality, especially when people hold on to that in certain places, it just causes you to make poor nutritional choices. Like a good example here, throughout the years I've seen people that are like adamant about staying fully raw, and they just eat so many nuts or they eat so many fat. If you've got to use high fat to make the raw, like, listen, I'm not telling you what your choices are on fat. You know, I tend to go lower fat. I'm not a fanatic about it, down in the 2 to 3% range. But point being is, make your decisions about how much fat you're going to take in based on what you think your nutritional needs are. Don't use fat to be raw. And I see a lot of people that do that. They just use so many nuts. They eat a lot of nuts. They make these salad dressings and these dishes with so much fat in there, with so many nuts, or with other types of fat, or even combining fat. That's the only way that they're hanging on. Now, once again, I'm not anti-fat. I'm can easily sit down and eat avocado with a spoon, and I enjoy fat, but overall I don't eat a lot of fat, and I definitely am not going to eat fat just to kind of, you know, make myself more raw. I'd rather have some sweet potatoes than too much fat, if that makes any sense to you. And that's why I think so many people, once again, so many people leave veganism in general. Like, a lot of raw food people end up, they don't just like go back to cooked food, or maybe they make a brief stop at cooked food, but so many raw people, and this is what I find disturbing, they don't just stop being raw, they stop being vegan. And sometimes they have such a correction to the other side, they go back to a horrible, not that there is a good version of the standard American diet, but they go back to the standard American diet, almost angry about the raw. They hate veganism, they hate raw. And it's just like, wow, maybe you just needed to eat a little cooked food somewhere in there. Once again, not telling anybody that is raw, that's making it work for them. I always have to make that distinction right there. My roommate right now, she eats all raw. I don't know how long she's been eating fully raw, 100% raw. She eats all raw. She's doing great. Melissa, she eats all raw. Me, I tend to have a hard time keeping weight on. So I'm just kind of like an animal. I'm just mowing down as much clean food in front of me as possible. But it would be very hard without me slipping those sweet potatoes in, you know, to keep my weight up. And to be honest with you, even regardless of the weight, I love sweet potatoes. I think those beautiful orange sweet potatoes are really good for you. So in the end, this isn't a nutrition course about the nutritional differences in raw versus cooked, but just make the best decisions for you. If you want to be fully raw, if you can be fully raw and you can do it in a very healthy way that's sustainable over a course of time, I'm not discouraging you. Don't misunderstand me. I'm encouraging you. If that's working for you, stay fully raw. If it's not working for you, do not be afraid to add a little bit of strategic cooked food in there, because all of a sudden you can't be fully raw, you're not part of the group anymore, whatever. always make those decisions, like I say, based on your health, and that's it. That's it, plain and simple. What it boils down to is always making the best choices that you can for every bite that you put in your mouth, and not necessarily obsessing if you do make a bad decision every once in a while, because none of us are perfect. But anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed this one today. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and we'll see you this weekend. Peace.